Hello and welcome to This Time Africa, right here in the studios of Africa Today. As you know, This Time Africa brings to you African men, African women. We showcase African art, we show our culture, and of course we bring out emerging leaders. And so, this is This Time Africa, but what's on this time? Hello and welcome again. Today we are talking about the world of art, and as large as and different as it can be, art brings to us the practical images of thoughts and of perceptions. And that's why I'm very honored as the clock faces Cameroon today. I have with me in the studio my own dear friend, Shiri Achu. Shiri, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I am so pleased. You know what? I can see that you are an artist. Just your look, you're very glamorous. And I am so glad that you could sit with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, indeed, you're welcome. My first question to you would be, did you have to figure out art and painting? Or was it something that you were, some people say I was born with it? What inspired you to become an artist?
We had immigrated to London when I was 9 years old. And my brother tells me that I found the materials and I started painting. It was something, I hadn't watched anyone paint. It was just something that I felt like I needed to do. So I got the materials and I instinctively knew what to do with it. So I started painting. My mother was very, very wonderful. She actually got me tutors and people to help, enhance my passion. It was just something that I felt that I had to do. And continuously throughout my entire life, I knew that I just had to keep painting. And thus I have been doing that ever since. Throughout my university, throughout everything that I did, I would always paint.
I like that. I like that. You know, I think your story is very similar to mine because my mother told me that when I was 3 years old, I used to pick stones and put them, and I would stand on, like any kind of platform, I would create a platform and stand and begin to speak to stones. So I'm not surprised that I'm a little bit of a talkative. But yeah, so it just comes out so naturally in what you were doing. And I am really, really amazed. I looked at one of your paintings, and even though it seems to me deceptively simple, but there's this sophistication about it. What is your style of painting?
So it depends on the sort of what I'm trying to portray. There are times when I feel the art needs a lot more detail. So the painting would have, there's a painting that I have called My Africa Pounds, and you would see all the details, the firewood, the smoke, so I need to actually get into the details to show that. There are other times another painting of mine is Colors of the Musical Sounds one, where it's more abstract. It's about the feelings, about, how someone feels when they look at it. So, but typically my work is contemporary. Because I grew up in London and, studied art in London. I got to understand and paint in a way that was, that is the way that they paint in the European style. So, and I feel that can be relatable to everybody. So it's a more contemporary, more modern feel, but typically of the African context.
And you said your first paint was what? My Africa
Pounds is a painting that I did, which is quite realistic. It's about, it shows the details of how you would imagine an old woman in the kitchen pounding Achu.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
And that's the magic I like about art, because it's so magical that it brings your thoughts, it brings your inner image to reality.
Yes.
And so how do you work with that? Like, are you able to walk into a place and see something? Because I know the eyes of an artist is very different from our eyes. I can see something entirely different and you can see something entirely differently. How do you interpret those images or of thoughts in your mind and able to bring them into reality?
So composition is very important in how I do my work. So when I'm walking around or when I'm in Africa, typically that's where I get most inspired. I would look at the different colors. I'll look at the composition of things, and then typically I walk around with my camera and I'll take a lot of photographs, and then I'll come back together and then I'll piece things together as I want to do the painting.
And so there's a process.
Yes, it's a
because
process.
what we see today in your glamour, again I say, is just what the eyes can see.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of work that is being done in the background.
Oh, yes.
In order
Oh,
for
yes.
us to see.
Oh, yes.
How long does making one painting? How long does it take?
It depends how inspired. There's a piece that I have called Nurture. It took me a night, and it was actually a lot of detail that I had to, there's a lot of detail in the painting, but I was so inspired and I could not put my paintbrush down. There are other paintings that take me a week or 2 weeks, so it all depends on how my mood is and how inspired I am, or other things. Maybe that week has been really distracting or something's happening in my personal life, but typically it can range.
It can range about your feeling. Okay, that's very good. And of course, you were born in Cameroon in West Africa.
Yes.
Your parents migrated to London, and then you are here in the USA.
Yes.
How would you say bringing all these three cultures together is continue to help you do what you can do?
Oh yes, I think the fact that I have the background of Cameroonian and my parents are very proud Cameroonians and very proud Africans, they in the first instance instilled that in me. And then moving to London, where I was actually bullied for certain things. I was young when I was in London, and people didn't quite understand my culture. They didn't understand my plaited hair or the clothes that my mom would dress me in, and they would laugh. And I was a bit, I didn't feel upset by their laughter. I just felt like, well, you didn't understand my culture. So from that, I felt like that's one of the reasons why I started painting the Africa culture, so people can get to know more about the Africa culture and appreciate it. And then moving here, and again, all three have made, I have to paint in a way that everyone can appreciate. Because I know, I studied art at school, so I know, more contemporary art, the Picassos and all the other, artists who are, that are more Freud. So I've had to bring that style of painting into my work, and having grown up in the Western world and using the African context, I'm finding that it's helped to have people in the Western world understand the culture.
It's very important.
Yeah.
In fact, that's why we're here in the studios,
Yeah.
because we need to talk about our culture,
Yeah.
what we stand for and what we believe.
Yeah.
But I like what you said about your challenge that you
Yeah.
had,
Yeah.
that people would laugh at you. And don't we all start in that path where you want to do something and people will laugh and people will mock?
Yeah.
But those are the challenges that inspire us to
Yes.
do what we want to do.
Exactly.
In fact, I was listening to Jerry Stalls, who is a very famous art critic.
Right.
And he was saying that he dropped out of art school and he felt so alone. But after a while, he had to go back to that place because that's what he believed in. So how do you overcome these challenges? Because I know in artwork, there's a lot of criticism and it's not about you, but somebody may not like what you have. I don't know if you've gone through that yet, but how are you able to manage those challenges? You've just said one about when they laughed at you and what you did.
Yep.
So how do you continue to overcome those hurdles?
Okay. So other challenges that I face typically are not about the context of my work. It's more about the everyday life. The fact that when I had an exhibition in Cameroon, for example, they didn't believe that I was a woman painting, because again, it's typically a male-dominated
Field industry. Yeah.
Yes, so we're trying to get more females get into it. Then it's the perception of it being a male-dominated thing can go away, because I face a lot of like, oh, can she really do it? Is it really her work? And then I can't get enough help that I need for my work. But it's more those kind of challenges that people not really understanding why I am an artist, why I'm painting. And a lot of the times they want me to just go and do a regular job as well. But of course, if it's your passion and your thing that you have to do, you just have to do it and just, and have people eventually come around. Yeah.
Yes, very good. That's very good. And of course, you were talking about modern painting,
Yep.
because modern painting now brings to us more of perspective. And
Yes.
I think art is more of perspective, really, and the way you see it.
Yep.
So how do you plan, or are you already using the modern technology or other things without it bringing irregularity to your work? Yes.
Okay. So my art has a feel of already, which is more contemporary compared to sort of artists that I've seen in, that I've studied in Africa. Mainly because I studied art in London. Mm-hmm. So I had to learn about Lucian Freud, I had to learn about Giacometti, I had to see other types of artists that are based in Europe. And I had to learn about their stuff. I had to practice the way they painted. Mm-hmm. And so using those techniques of brush and palettes and different techniques, my art already generally would have a more contemporary, more European feel and more contemporary style to it. But in terms of using technology, I've started making prints of my work. And prints are good because when I had my very first exhibition 10 years ago in London.
And you are celebrating 10 years this year.
Yes.
Oh, amazing, amazing. I am so proud of you. 10 years celebrating the work of art.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So when I had my very first exhibition, I had 30 huge pieces because I like to paint big. And people said they loved them. They loved the pieces. But okay, let me take this off.
That's okay. This time Africa, just be you.
People said they loved the work, but they couldn't, either because they couldn't afford it, because art, you have to put a good price to it, or they were too large. So from that time, it took me 5 years to understand what people would like and how to market my work. So 5 years later, I started doing this print series of exhibitions where it was also a way for me to, I woke up one day just with this knowledge of, okay, if you make your works in prints, you're able to transport them to different countries, you're able to then sell them at cheaper prices, and then you're able to take them around the world as well. So that's when I started doing my in-print series of exhibitions. I started when I did 35 in print, that was in London. And then again, I'm able to take my, the print series and go to do one here, 36 in print. And then I did another one, 38 in print, 37 in print in Australia. I did 38 in print in Jamaica and Kingston. And then I did 39 in print in Toronto. Wow. So because of the technology of being able to make prints, I'm now able to transport my work from country to country, exposing the African culture. And that's exactly what my aim is.
That's exactly what our aim is right here on This Time Africa, so that Shiri can take her walk, not only to stay in Africa, but also that the world will hear her, that she is a woman from Africa who can really do art. And that's why we're here. Thank you very much. When we come back, we're going to talk about exhibitions and we're going to show you more of what Shiri does. You stay right there. Don't touch the dial. We'll be right back. Welcome back to This Time Africa, right here in the studios of Africa Today. And of course, the clock faces Cameroon, where I'm talking today with Shiri Achu, an artist who was born in Cameroon and migrated to London and is right here with us in the United States of America and showcasing her artwork. And we were talking about the African pot.
Yes.
The African pot. Just before we left, we spoke about the African pot. And so, Shiri, can you tell us a little bit about what was your thought? What were you thinking at this time? What did you intend to present to the viewers?
Okay, so this is a very typical scenery in the village. And this is Ma Africa, and she is doing what she loves to do. She's making Achu for her grandchildren.
What's Achu for those of us?
Achu is a traditional meal in Africa, in Cameroon, from Bamenda, actually, in Bafuchu. We eat this, it's our traditional meal. And I just wanted to capture her and her smile, because you can tell she's very content. It's what she loves to do. And I wanted to capture even the fire and the smoke and just the whole aroma of the firewood outdoor kitchen. So
yes, this reminds me very much of how we did it in Africa. Yes. And look at the way she's smiling.
Yes.
So Achu, some of us would call it like fufu. So it's a stirring process,
yes,
and
it's cocoa yams.
Oh.
And then they eat it with the soup. You sort of put it in your plate, you bore a hole, and then you get the soup. It's a yellow
All
soup.
right, viewers, don't start. I know you're feeling it like you want to eat it right now, but this we're just trying to show you what this is. So this is a woman who is very pleased doing what she knows how to do.
Yes.
And just a smile can tell.
Yes.
And we do have something else that you captured that I really, really like. So is this Cameroon? What is this?
Yes, this is also from the Bafuchu. This was in Bafuchu, the actual place called Bafuchu. And this was New Year's Day. And the men wear, this is the national regalia. And they wear this, and they're very proud, and they just look so handsome, and I just had to paint this painting.
That's right.
Yes.
They look so nice.
Yes.
And what are they called again? Is it the
This is the Bafuchu.
The Bafuchu.
Bafuchu.
The Bafuchu.
Yes. So this painting is 1111, which was actually a perfect date, the 1st of January 2011. 1111.
Oh.
And
great.
that's why it's titled Bafuchu Big Men Celebrates.
This is how they celebrate New Year's.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
All right. I know you're getting ready to ask me how you can lay your hands on one of these, but it's okay. We have one more to show you. Let's look at this.
So this is the Maasai. The Maasai, the East of Africa, and they are very well known, an amazing tribe. I saw them when I visited Kenya many years ago, and I fell in love with the tribe, and thus I painted this painting.
All right, so you're going beyond. You're thinking out of the box. You're not just saying I'm painting Cameroon. I'm also going Kenya. So of course, a lot of people are familiar with the Maasai.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So this one is more abstract because again, for me, the Maasai, it was about their stance. It was about their aura, their presence. It was not about whether it looked like John, Mary, Peter. It was more about their stance. So that's why this one is more abstract. So depending on how I want my viewers to appreciate the painting, I decide on which medium to take. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, I am very, very happy that you could, let us look at these today. Who would you say has been your inspiration? Which I know there are a lot of artists in the world, but who would you say, maybe one or two people that you think has been your inspiration?
I actually like Lucian Freud's work a lot. Lucian Freud is he's gone now, but he's about texture, and there is a lot of emotion in his work. I also like Giacometti's work, again because of composition and again more of texture. So, but there's a piece of a lot of artists' work that I love. So I can't say there's a really must-have favorite artist, but I'm inspired by a lot of different artists. Yeah.
And of course, that's a very good way to put it, because somebody may just be listening that want to support your work. So we're not saying any one particular person, but you do love the work of art, which is very good.
Yes.
And I know you do have a great success story you told me about one of your paintings that you did that I don't know if it's in the market or about somebody that really brought attention to a lot of people. Which one painting was that?
Oh, it was my recent piece, the piece that I did of Erykah Badu.
Erykah Badu.
Yes, she owns.
Tell us a little bit about her and about the piece.
Okay, so Erykah Badu is a Grammy Award musician who actually traced her roots to Cameroon. And a few years ago, she made a video which is out where she's wearing the togo and everything. So recently, being a very proud Cameroonian Bamenda girl, and that's where she traced her roots to actually Bamenda, I decided to do this painting of her. I have the card, which replaced the headscarf with the fabric called the togo from Bamenda. And so I've recently only released it, and in fact today's her birthday.
Oh.
And so prints are being sold. I'm selling prints and postcards of those currently.
Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. You have it? Oh, that's good. That's very nice. So what is your next project? What do you aim to do next?
What is coming next is the 40th Act. The 40th Act will take place here in DC. It will also take place in London, and it will take place in Cameroon, God willing.
All right. So do you have any dates yet for us, or are you just planning that?
So we are going to be doing London first in August, and August. Then in October we'll be doing here in DC, and then in December we'll be doing in Cameroon. So these are major exhibitions. This will have original pieces which no one has ever seen, and of course some of my prints that you have, some of the prints that you've seen as well. But you will have original pieces.
So if I want to buy something that I want to keep in my house, I don't want to talk about price ranges, but just tell me something that I can afford.
You can afford all of them.
Really?
Yes, because I sell. I mean, unless you wanted an big original piece, a big original piece will cost something like between $2,000 to $4,000.
Okay.
But the prints on my website range from $50 through to $200. I'm going slightly larger now, so it's $300. So it's not. I'm affordable, and that's the point. I want people to be able to purchase them. I want people to be able to enjoy the culture. So it gives me joy to be able to have people have mommy pounding an Archu and loving and seeing that. It gives me joy to see a girl, to have people buy the girl climbing a tree. And those are all beautiful moments in Africa, which I'm glad people are enjoying.
That's great. That's great. So, Africa Today is having a business meeting sometime in March.
Okay.
So if you're going to be in the US, Africa Today is having a great diaspora business meeting. I think it would be a good place for you to go, and probably people, so that people can look at your painting, your work, and also support you.
Wonderful.
How can viewers or listeners reach you?
Through my website, it's www.shiriachuart.com. That's it. And www.shiriachuart.com. And through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it's all the same, Shiri Achu Art.
That's great. That's great. So how can somebody, there's a listener now, or a viewer, who is very interested in art, and they may want to support you. How can we, as an African body, how can we, as business people, entrepreneurs, support your work? What are you looking for?
What I'm looking for right now is some sponsorship, because I'm planning this huge exhibition, 3 exhibitions in fact, but of course the one in London I think I have covered, but the one here I need a beautiful space to hold it, and I need to be able to promote it well. So some sponsorship would be wonderful, to make sure that it's a great success, because it's my 10th year anniversary. And I think I also have a campaign which is called the Raise the Roof campaign, where a percentage of my sales go towards raising this roof in Bamenda. There's a Sunday school roof which doesn't have. There's a Sunday school which has 4 walls, doesn't have a roof. And what I'm trying to do is also try and gather some money so we can complete the roof. So I've had that campaign for 2 years now, but it's slowly growing. It'll be wonderful to be able to complete the roof of the school. So any help with that would be wonderful too.
So you're saying that proceeds from your artwork, when supported, goes towards that charity work.
Yeah.
And please, as you have heard, that's the website, and you can reach her on www.shiriachuart.com. See, I can remember that. What would you like to say for youth? Younger people, I know you're younger, all right? So, but I'm just saying, what would you like to say to people who have been trying, probably in Africa, just like you were born, and the world of art is not, maybe their eyes, there's no much illumination yet as far as it comes to art. What advice would you like to give those young people?
Don't give up. You must always push. I've actually had a few people reach out to me from Cameroon and other places, Nigeria, that they want me to mentor them.
Oh, that's
great.
You know,
and I take time and I give them work to do, and they get back to me, and I try, because I feel like that's one of the things that I'm supposed to be doing as well. And in fact, there's a show coming out in Cameroon where I'm doing live sessions, with my art and telling people how to, do certain things. So if you know that you cannot sleep or you cannot breathe, or if you don't do what you're doing, then you must just do it, and don't give up, because you will push through.
That's very good. So don't give up, you will push through.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Shiri. I have one last question for you. What will be that moment in your life that something will happen and you will say, aha, this is what I've been waiting for? What is that one moment?
Ooh.
Yes, I know. I always do that to people.
I haven't thought about that question. What would be that moment, that particular moment? Who would it be from? I can't. There are so many people that I would love to say, well done, to tell me. But I have, in my 10 years, I've had a lot of people encouraging me and telling me that I'm doing a great job and they love my work. So, who would be that one person that I would? Maybe my father. My father doesn't talk very much. He is not, and he always. Maybe my father. My mother always tells me, and my father he always seems so placid. If he were to light up and tell me, wow, I am so proud of you, my daughter, I think that could be the moment.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't that? Yeah.
So, Father, we're waiting for that one moment. Probably after you watch the show, we're waiting for that moment. I'll be watching you, Papa. So, that's what we do right here on This Time Africa. We are ready to roll it up, because this is where we bring the curtains down. And you don't sing, right? Because I was about to let you sing This Time Africa. Oh. All right, but we'll bring your sister next time.
Yes, exactly.
This is how we wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching today. Again, here with me in the studios of Afrique Today is right here, Shiri Achu. She's an artist. Please watch out for her on the website. And yes, again, watch us on Afrique Today, www.afriquetoday.com. Check us out on Twitter, on YouTube, and download the app. And again, this is your host, Sia Matilda Banga, right here on This Time Africa. See you next time.